This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there he is. How you feeling?
I'm good. You'll have to explain the Amber Heard reference. I didn't get it.
It's really simple.
Go ahead.
The Dolphins offense, it's either Heard or turd. And so Amber is a beautiful girl, kind of crazy. You know what they say about the crazy women, right? Great sex. So one night you have great sex with her. The next night you go to your bed and there's a big turd there. And that's basically the Dolphin offense. One night you get crazy sex with a beautiful woman. The next night you get a turd. So we don't know what we're going to get from the Dolphins offense, Heard or turd. So it's now become the Amber Heard offense, the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
How do you like that? Is
that
that a great analogy or what?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a reach.
Last 2 weeks, those are two turds in the bed.
No,
right?
Absolutely. A little bit of a reach, but I'll give you points for creativity. Yeah, no, that was some kind of ugly last night.
That's a choke job of all choke jobs, bro. That's what Ryan Tannehill does when you're 9-5 and you need to beat the Bills or the Jets, two terrible teams at that point. At that point, folks, not these Bills, or even these Jets, actually. And you can't win one of those games. And to me, that's kind of what this was right here, you know? Even, look, last night, Herbert outplayed Tua. He showed up, Tua choked. But Herbert wasn't that great. It's 370 and one touchdown.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. Think about this.
Bro,
Think about this.
He was under pressure the entire night, and he kept making out of nothing. Holy
Think about this. I'll just ask you one question. Just one question. If the pathetic Dolphins offense finds a way to score a touchdown at the end of that game and wins 24-23, the narrative all of a sudden changes. Yeah, Herbert threw for 370, but he only brought him to one touchdown. A lot of field goals. If he gets him into one more touchdown, they win. So really, yeah, he outperformed Tua by miles. But it wasn't like a performance like I saw Tua against the Baltimore Ravens down by 21. That's a performance for the ages. Last night, he outplayed Tua, but anybody could outplay Tua the way he played.
He was running for his life every time he dropped back to pass. I mean, come on, dude, seriously. And that was a big difference. If you're going to compare the two, and then Tua's performance at Baltimore was spectacular. He also had all day to throw. Herbert, do you recall many times that Herbert sat in the pocket? I mean, literally, and this is where you mentioned the Dolphin defense having done its job. And part of it is they put pressure on that guy, and I mean the whole night. And he made some throws, even one of those back-breaking third down conversions on that long, exhausting drive at the end of the game. The first third down, the pass to Keenan Allen on the side where Kader Kahu is all over the dude, and he's got a window about this tight to fit it in, and he filled it. I mean, the guy was spectacular. I don't know.
Made some excellent throws, but think about it. Only one touchdown. So it's really not. It's really not.
Is that on him? For example, is that on him that his receiver stumbles when he's on the first fourth down, where he's catching the ball on the swing and he stumbles?
No, I get it,
but that's not on Herbert.
I get that. I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming Herbert for anything. I'm just saying it wasn't this incredible performance.
But it was. But it was. And there's
the Dolphins were so bad, dude, yesterday. I
don't disagree with that. And I will tell you this also. I don't think Tua was not nearly as much of a cause for the issues on offense to me as he was against San Francisco when he was missing wide open receivers.
That's fine. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't see a whole lot of wide open receivers.
You're right. Some of the receivers were screwed up. Like Tyreek actually had a couple of plays. You were like, did he lose it in the lights in one of them? There's another one that he dropped. No, I get the receivers even made some mistakes, and this was McDaniel's worst game.
They weren't open. He schemed whatever the game plan and it's interestingly enough, the Chargers defensive coordinator is former Dolphin player and assistant coach Ronaldo Hill. Yeah. I mean, props to him because they were all over those Dolphin receivers who have been wide open the whole year. Were wide open against San Francisco. Tua was missing them. Were not open at all last night.
Right. McDaniel had a great game plan last week. Tua just failed that game plan.
Right.
This week, it was Tua, McDaniel, and some of the receivers. that kind of screwed up, because really the line did enough again. And you got Armstead back, so that excuse isn't there. You know what I'm saying? It just, to me, brother, there's no excuses. I don't make excuses for people. I made plenty of excuses for Tua last year that to me were legitimate with the coaching and the talent around him. Now I don't make any excuses from what's happened the last 2 weeks. And last night, I'm not letting McDaniel off the hook. He was terrible. He did not adjust. He did not adjust whatever routes he was running with his guys. He did not force Tua to adjust also. And the running game, which you had some success with it, you didn't use it enough overall. Was that going to maybe win the game for you? I doubt it. But still, man, it would have helped out a little bit on the offense.
No question. I would tell you, this was the first game last night where I'm watching and going, wow, they're getting outcoached tonight. They are losing the coaching battle. And that's the first time all year that I would say that. So, I mean, we can cut the guy some slack, but the flip side is.
Last week, too, in a way. Last week, a little bit.
No, I thought they did fine. Last week was purely execution, and a lot of it was on Tua.
Yeah, most of it was. You're right. Most of it was execution.
But now the thing that's really kind of worrisome is this was the big test, and everybody's talking about it. Even McDaniel himself said you want to get yourself in the position where you're playing the big games in December, and that's when you show up. Well, they ain't showing up yet, and I don't want to be you. And then on top of everything else, the NFL certainly didn't do him any favors with the scheduling. Not only,
I don't care about that.
So what?
Everybody's got difficult parts in their schedule. I'm not giving you an excuse for that one. I'm not
Big O. I'm not giving not an excuse, but I would challenge you to come up with the last time a team has had back-to-back games in California or on the East Coast if you're a California team as part of a 3-game road set. Now I know the Dolphins asked the league to do the California games back-to-back so they could stay out west. But then to tack on a third road game on top of that, and then to make it a Saturday night game when they easily could have made it a Sunday night game, that's tough. That has nothing to do with how they played the past 2 weeks. So,
right, that's my problem. You know what? Win these last two, and I don't care what happens in Buffalo. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, that's fair.
That's fine with me. You had everything set up for you, and you could have won these 2 games. You could have won these 2 games because let me tell you, bro, I am so tired of bashing Boyer. I think he deserves a raise. Okay? There are people that want to fire him. I want to give him a raise. Okay? Think about this. There's not one game you can say, oh, dude, the offense was awesome and the defense failed them today. Like we used to do all the time with Marino. Yeah. Marino would score 32, and then there's J.B. Brown allowing the 37th point of the day. Or, or whoever, whatever bad defensive player that they had on that team. And we used to see it all the time. Dude, how does Ken O'Brien beat Marino? How does Richard Todd beat Marino? How does Tony Eason beat Marino? Oh, because your defense freaking sucks. That's why. Mm-hmm. And not one game this season we can say, bro, the offense was awesome and the defense was dog shit. No, the defense is 13-0 this season. All 5 losses are attributed to offensive issues. And the 3, I know, I get it. We give them breaks because no Tua. But still, dude.
Well, yeah, I don't want to completely absolve the defense, even though
I get it. But in general, think about it.
No, but Big O, here's the thing, is in the 5 losses, unless I'm severely mistaken, they don't have a takeaway in any of those games. Last night, you could make the argument. Obviously, we're going to talk about the 3rd and goal from the 17 where he's dropping everybody back, where you basically gave him the opportunity to go for it on 4th and goal from the 1. And then
you lose by 2, you lose by 4.
Well, then they go, you allowed an 8-minute, 39-second drive at a time when it was 20-14. So
your defense is out on the field all the time.
I understand that. They go, here's the thing, though.
They're going to bend some.
They go. And there have been injuries. I understand that. But to suggest that it's everything 100% on the offense, it's not. I mean, it may be more on the offense than on the defense. That's fine. To say the losses are entirely on the defense.
Did the defense do enough to win the last 2 games, my friend? That's it.
Um,
That's all. That's all. Your pause answered it all, my friend. You know it.
they could have done more. They could have done more. But again, if you're counting on the offense scoring 30 points every game, yeah, they did enough.
How much more do you want from those guys, dude?
Come up with a takeaway. Come up with a
Is it Boyer's fault that Chubb can't do his job? Is it Boyer's fault that X doesn't know how to tag a guy when he's down on the floor after he got burned? There are things that happen too that I can't blame Boyer at times. Riley gets tripped up and they get that deep ball on him a couple weeks back. I can't blame him for that. You know what I mean? X is kind of a shell of what he used to be. Am I blaming him for that? Hell, I give him credit because the best defensive back on the field right now is the guy he found in Kader Kohou. Because last night, the best defensive back on the field was Kader Kohou, baby. All right? I mean, I have a hard time laying any blame whatsoever on Boyer and the defense when they've been injury-riddled. They're always on the field. I would love to know the total amount of minutes for the entire season for the defense and the offense. Because if it's 80-40 in the last 2 weeks, what is it through 13 games?
Let me put on my glasses. I can easily find that out for you. I'm a full service right here. Here you go. Possession average, Dolphins 28-34, opponents 31-26.
28-31?
Yeah. The 31.
So that means over 13 games?
Yeah.
That's like another. They've been on the field for an extra game.
Okay, but my point remains. He played well enough to win.
Just say okay. I mean, they've played a 14th game and the offense has played 13.
Okay, but Big O, I'm the one who's actually was defending the defense earlier on, saying that they won some games. But on the flip side, I don't want to say that their 5 losses are strictly because of the offense. I would agree that more of the blame goes to the offense than the defense in those losses. But to say it's entirely, and the defense won some games, and as I said before, so
and let me tell you, and the last 2 weeks, I don't blame the defense one bit. They put you in position to win both those games, and you failed. Right? I mean, you have to say that, right? The last 2 weeks, the defense in December did enough for you to win those games. We can't ask them to be dominant because that's not who they are.
No, correct.
They don't have the talent to be dominant.
Correct.
Okay? Although Christian Wilkins, God bless him, bro. God freaking bless him. He, back up.
Jalen Phillips is balling lately, too. Jalen Phillips is balling big time, too.
He's balling. Kohou, Phillips, and Wilkins last night, they all put on a show. Those 3 guys, God bless them, dude. They were awesome. They were a pleasure to watch. Okay? That was the few bright spots, them and Jason Sanders. Because that was nice that he hit the 55-yarder. He needed to hit that 55-yarder. But I just – okay, so here, let me put you in the most impossible and most uncomfortable question ever. What's going on, bro? What's going on with Tua? What's going on with McDaniel? What the hell is going on? How do you fix it? Ha! There you go.
No, that's a great one. The one against Frisco, again, might have been like a one-off or whatever. The one against the Chargers, a bad Chargers defense without Derwin James, Bryce Callahan, and their defensive tackle, Joseph Day, on top of everything else, and they got dominated. How do you fix it? That's a great. Well, first of all, here's how I would approach it. Maybe since either defenses are making adjustments and coming up with ideas on how to slow down the offense, maybe you don't have to chuck everything deep down the field all the time. Go back to some short passing, and maybe don't open the game with 3 15-yard passes that get broken up, and you basically have a possession that lasts 20 seconds that you're putting away.
Amen. I don't know what happened, because it's not like he can't do the short passing game. He's exceptional at that. So why not do that kind of stuff? Plus, it starts to get his confidence going back. You get him in some kind of a rhythm. I thought the last 2 weeks you're taking all these deep shots. You're like going overboard on those deep shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it seems like the last 2 weeks. And then you would like to use the running game a little bit more, but damn, dude, now this week, this is not the week. now you're going up against a team that you really cannot run against. You know, you had the team that you can run against last week. You know what I'm saying? I mean, last night.
Yeah.
There are some things sometimes. It's almost like I think McDaniel sometimes outthinks himself.
Yeah, and I also don't. We also don't know what the options are on every. There was one play I saw. I saw the replay from the back of the Dolphin backfield, and I don't even remember how the play ended. Whether Tua scrambled or threw the ball away or whatever. But he had an outlet 5 yards down the field to his right for an easy completion, and didn't see him or didn't want to take it. And I don't know if we're trying to play hero ball here. Make something happen big every single play, but I think if it needs to be dink and dunk for a while, and it may need to be that against the Bills because their defense is a bitch, number one, and number two, because the weather conditions should be a factor. If it needs to be dink and dunk all night for the offense to move, make it dink and dunk.
Bro, there's nothing wrong with dink and dunk. Joe Montana dinked and dunked you and then hit you over the top. And Tom Brady dinked and dunked you and then hit you over the top. And Peyton Manning dinked and dunked you. And lots of great quarterbacks dink and dunk. That's the part that it's so weird that even last year, that's what their entire offense was, dink and dunk. Mm-hmm. And they barely could throw. They barely ever threw deep because they had no time. And then in this offense, it's kind of gotten – do you think he's gotten too cocky with the offense?
That's certainly a possibility. And human nature being what it is, with the success that they had for so many weeks in a row, after that Sunday night game against the Steelers when things were rough, but after that you started a streak where Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Houston, where everything was kind of clicking and the offense was really humming. Yeah, it's human nature to get maybe a little bit too happy with yourself and maybe thinking it's going to come that easy every week, and this. That should not be the case anymore.
I did not. I admittedly, the first go around, every time I watch a game, I don't necessarily focus on the line all the time. You're ball watching a lot too, in games. How did you see Armstead overall? Because it looked like he actually did a pretty good job. Didn't get beat a lot, and more importantly, man, what a tough sumbitch, man. Jesus Christ.
No, he is. I haven't done my second watch, and I'm going to focus more on the offensive line because, like you, when you're watching a game for the first time and writing life off of it, you have to pay attention to the ball. And the only thing that really stood out from that first viewing, that live viewing, was obviously the sack he gave up against Kyle Van Noy of Dolphin fame 2020, where he got beat with a spin move.
Right.
And did the arm, the pec issue come into play on that?
Probably.
Only he would know. Correct. I'd be inclined to think that's like that Teron Armstead has seen spin moves in his career before, and I'd be inclined to think that he's stoned a lot of spin moves before. So overall, though, tough to say. As you mentioned, though, overall the line was fine. There were a couple of plays where Tua had pressure. The game book has him taking 4 quarterback hits compared to 7 for the Dolphins on Herbert. So it wasn't like he was under duress a lot of the night.
No. And he actually, few times that he had pressure, he did good of avoiding it and even throwing the ball away too at the same time.
Nice scrambles.
Nice the line actually has done more. Look, they're not a road grading line, but they have made progress from the last couple of years where they're actually giving their quarterback enough time to pass the ball. And that excuse doesn't exist. Last year, I mentioned them many times to defend Tua.
Yes, you did.
I had the ammunition with coaching. I had the ammunition with talent. I had the ammunition with the offensive line. I had all that ammunition. No running game. I had all of that. I don't have that ammunition this year. Okay, and I certainly did not have that ammunition the last two games. He has his coaching. The line gave him more than enough time. You have enough weapons. There are no excuses for the performance the last 2 weeks. Period.
No, and the thing that's weird and makes it more difficult to come up with a solution and a diagnosis is that, to me, against San Francisco, it was all physical mistakes where he was off the mark with his accuracy, and last night it was all decision making where he was throwing all night to guys who were really covered.
Right. And the guy on the other side, the guy on the other side is taking everything underneath and killing you.
Correct.
Underneath all night long, and then hitting you over the top every once in a while. Why didn't you do the same thing? I don't understand that.
No, if I have to see one more pass down the left sideline to either Mike Gesicki or Trent Sherfield when they're completely covered and you basically got a window of 3 centimeters, 30 yards away, I'm going to go crazy.
Right.
I mean, talk about low percentage throws.
Yes. Yeah. There wasn't a lot there. How much is it confidence for Tua, do you think?
No, I think he's amassed enough. He's amassed enough equity in that category so far this season with the success that the offense has had, where I think he can always go back. And I heard somebody joke, well, maybe it's time to show him another 700 plays on a highlight.
Wait a minute. They do have 610 to go. They only showed about 90.
Okay, so there you go.
So I said yesterday that he should go a little Zig Ziglar and start using some of that motivational stuff on the plane ride back. Hey, Tua, let's go over some of these plays that you know how to do, and then maybe kind of rebuild the confidence or something. I don't know what it is, dude.
Maybe there's too much confidence, maybe, and then maybe he thinks that he can make every single solitary throw when some of them are just really not good throws to make.
No, they're not. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated and alldolphins.com?
Busy day on Monday. I already put up the snap count observations, which were affected obviously by the injuries, not only to Tyreek Hill. And we mentioned the running game and how it could be an issue against Buffalo. Well, I'm no doctor, but certainly doesn't look good when Jeff Wilson Jr. gets carted off the field or carted into the locker room with a hip injury. And then Eric Rowe also was injured. So the snap count observations are already up. The 5 biggest plays of the game, do the complete observations, revisiting the storylines. Mike McDaniel's addressing the media at 4:30. And after I hang up with you, I'm going to detail the complete playoff outlook and where the Dolphins stand. They're still in good shape, but obviously not as good as they would have been had they won last night.
What is a satisfactory ending to a team that started 8-3?
11-6.
Okay.
Would be
so they've got to go 3. That's what I mean. So 3-1, right?
That would be very satisfactory. I mean, if we're talking right now, I think both you and I would say, completing the sweep at Buffalo is a pretty tall task.
But yeah,
I think they're better than Green Bay. At New England could be tricky, but it's a game they can win. And I don't know. I don't know if at this point, I'm not sure I'd say should win, but it's certainly a winnable game. The Jets in the season finale is also going to be tricky, especially if Quinnen Williams is in the lineup. I know he left the game against Buffalo yesterday.
Yeah, he got injured yesterday. Yeah.
I don't know the severity of his injury.
And by the way, that Mike White is one tough son of a bitch. Holy crap, because he got leveled twice in that game. And to come back, mad props for that guy. But let me tell you something, Alan, if this offense that you've seen the last 2 weeks plays over the next 4 weeks, they may not win a game.
No, correct. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
You can't keep doing this where the defense is out on the field twice as much as you are for the next 4 weeks. And now they're playing on a short week. I feel terrible for that defense. I tweeted out last night, the entire offense needs to buy the defense and their families vacations for the summer. Okay.
But here's the thing too is it's like, Tua was such a high in terms of performance for most of the season, and then we're looking at such a low. I mean, there's got to be a middle ground somewhere here, and the question is going to be, where's that middle ground, and is it going to be good enough
Brother, he's looking like Ryan Tannehill right now in the last 2 weeks. Like the
He
moment's too big.
wishes he would be looking like Ryan Tannehill the last 2 games.
Please. Jesus. Well, the last 2 games, no, they lost yesterday. Once they fell behind and Tannehill had to carry them. That's it. It was over. It was done. It's very Tannehill-ish, the last 2 weeks for Tua Tagovailoa. And we have Andy Behrens coming up, which he has Tua on a bunch of his teams. He must be as depressed as hell right now at this point with what's going on. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And remember, if you're a Dolphins fan, you must bookmark alldolphins.com. It's the law. Alan, we'll catch up later on in the week, my friend. Have a good one.
You be good.
You got it. There you go. Alan Poupart and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the